Hey, Jeannie here. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about the place that I had my surgery and the cost of my surgery and why I chose the place that I chose. So the company that I chose to do my sleeve surgery with was Renew Bariatrics, and they are based out of San Diego, but the surgery is done at the CER medical facility in Tijuana, Mexico. And the reason why I chose Renew was because my coworker chose Renew Bariatrics. I have a coworker who had the surgery in December of 2021, and I talked to her February 18th of 2022. So I remember going into work, and it was a teacher work day. I'm a teacher, so we had a teacher work day, and in the morning there was a group of us gathered, and I just started asking her questions. A couple of us did. So I asked her where she went, her whole experience, and her daughter was supposed to go with her, but something happened, her daughter was not able to go with her, so she went by herself. And so we had talked for maybe an hour or so, and then right after I went on the website and I called the number, and they called me back around lunchtime, and I talked to the lady for about an hour, and she asked me my medical history, how many surgeries I've had, and I told her that I had asthma. It was and I had a really bad asthma attack or situation in December of 2019. And I had jokingly said maybe it was COVID, because I had never experienced that before. I remember walking up to the school, it was in December, walking up to the school one morning to go in the building, and I was breathing very heavily, trying to catch my breath, and I never experienced that before. So I went to the doctor and had a breathing treatment, and I told her on the phone jokingly, like, hey, maybe it was COVID, because I never experienced that before. And so we hung up, and she had called me back either a day or sometime later and said that I needed to get medical clearance from my doctor in Texas in order to continue on with the surgery. Because she was under the impression that I had COVID, even though I said technically it wasn't COVID, but I thought maybe it was. But so anyways, I was fine with doing that because I thought they were just trying to be thorough. So I did a video conference with the nurse practitioner, and they gave me the clearance. They had to fill out a piece of paper saying that I was okay to have the surgery, and they did it right away. I didn't even have to go into the office. I didn't have to go into a clinic or anything like that. I did also go by myself to Tijuana. I remember I had gone to lunch with 3 of my friends, and we had gone to Cracker Barrel, and I had told them, hey, I'm gonna have sleeve surgery. And they're like, oh, okay. And then when I told them where I was having it, jaws dropped. Seriously. They were just shocked. And one of them was like, I'll go with you, but she had a family. And then my other friend, her daughter was actually a nurse, and I was like, I'm gonna ask your daughter to go with me. And she's like, oh no, she's not going. And of course, out of respect for my friend, I did not ask her. But when I talked to her daughter, she was like, oh, I'll go. Oh, that'd be a cool experience. And I'm like, no, your mom said no. I'm not even gonna ask. I said, I'm gonna go by myself because my coworker went by herself. And again, that was the number one reason why I chose Renew, was because my coworker did. And because I could actually talk to her. It's not someone I met on Facebook. It's not someone that I met on YouTube. It's somebody that I actually knew, that I can go to work, or I can text, or I can message, and I can physically talk to them. And that is the reason why I chose Renew. And when I initially called and they were setting it up, they were trying to figure out days. I had a different doctor, but eventually it switched to the same doctor she had, which that's what I wanted. And then after I started doing some more research. So of course I suggested your research, but I did my research by talking to my coworker. I asked her questions all the time, and she had no problems with me asking questions. So I was very appreciative of that. And the other reason that I felt comfortable going by myself was because she went by herself, and she had no problem. She told me I would ask her, so what happens? What? And she's like, they'll pick you up from the airport. In fact, when I landed, I was in contact with the transportation manager, and I was like, what color is the van? What da, da, da. And the van pulls up at the airport, San Diego airport, and I knew what van to look for, and he, verified, did all that. There was a group of us. So those are the two main reasons, or that was the main reason why I went with Renew, was because my coworker went. Apparently there are tons of other clinics, tons of other doctors that you can go to. In fact, with Renew, there's, I think, 3 or 4 doctors that do the surgery. So that's why I went with Renew. Now, you do your research, you do what's best for you. I had no problems with Renew. I had no problems with my doctor. I think it was very interesting that when I was in the hospital, and it's an actual hospital, some of the employees had the surgery and they were talking to me about it. So I thought that was great, and they had it there. So that's why I chose Renew. So I'm going to kind of go over the cost or how much I paid for my surgery. Now, again, I had my surgery April 14th of 2022. So depending on when you're watching this, the prices may change. Of course, everything has gone up since then. So my price may be different from yours. In fact, my coworker's price was probably different than mine. So when I first called them February 18, she quoted me at the price being $4,899. And my coworker took out a loan. So I asked for that, and they sent me a list of different companies that I could contact to get a loan. And so I called the first one, and I qualified for it. So I was back and forth with the company that I had, the loan company for the procedure, and they were going to not just charge me the $4,800, or pretty much $4,900. They were going to charge me $2,000 more because it was an unsecured loan, and that just did not sit right with me. And I'm thinking, I don't want to pay, because my goal was to get my income tax, to pay $1,000, and then when I worked summer school, I would pay it off, or pay half of it, and then when I got my summer school check in the end of July, I was going to pay the rest of it. That was my goal. So I was like, I don't want to pay too extra.
Peter, be quiet.
So I really didn't want to pay $2,000 more than what I was going to do. So I kind of held off, and then it was March by the time I was able to get the medical clearance and to get the loan situated. And so when I called back in March, the price had gone up. And I asked, why did it go up? It's a different month, things go up. So then in March, they had quoted me at $5,099. And I'm thinking, what? So then that's that plus the $2,000. And then around that time, thankfully I got my income tax, and I called them again, and I had questioned the price. Like, why did it go up again? You know, and I had talked to my coworker, and she had told me her price, and I'm like, well, that's not what it was less than what they had quoted me, and I'm like, that's not what they quoted me. And so when I contacted them again, they had given me that price because they were thinking that I was going to get my gallbladder taken out. And I had already told them that at the 3 surgeries I had was I got my gallbladder taken out, and I had 2 foot surgeries at different times. And I guess they must have understood that again. So when I said, oh, I've already had my gallbladder out, then the price changed. So my final price ended up being $4,199. Once I paid the $300 down payment, they sent me an email of everything I needed to know. And I decided on April 14th because it was Thursday, and then Good Friday was Friday, and then Saturday, Sunday, and Monday was a teacher work day. So I thought, okay, I'll take 2 days off and I'll be good. I ended up taking 3 days off and going back on Wednesday. But so thankfully the price was great. I thought it was great, and I was able to cash flow it. I was able to use my income tax and my income tax refund, and I had some savings as well. So I was just very grateful that I was able to pay for it, and I didn't have to owe anybody. And so as far as airlines, when I was checking airlines in February, it was like $200. I was going to fly Southwest. I like doing nonstop, so I was going to go from Austin to San Diego, and it was $200. But then that war broke out in Ukraine, and the gas prices went up, and it had doubled to $400. And I was like, oh, great. But Southwest was doing promotion that if you sign up for their credit card, you got a $200 voucher. So I did that. So it ended up being half that. So I ended up paying $200 for the airline. So that was great. So I was very pleased with that. Very pleased that I was able to cash flow the surgery, and I was able to pay off the credit card or the airline. So it worked out perfectly. So I'm glad I didn't have to pay that extra $2,000 for that loan, so that it worked out great for me. So anyways, that's why I chose Renew, and I'm very pleased with my decision. I mean, I don't know anything else. I haven't gone to anybody else. I really don't know what else to say about anybody else. But of course, do your research. I'm sure there are other videos, other YouTube videos that you can watch about different doctors and different places that other people have used. You can go online and read reviews, and I had done that after I decided on Renew. But it worked out great for me. My doctor was great. Our what is his name? Let's see. So my doctor's name, I had to look it up, but my doctor's name was Dr. Armita. And I met him, and he was fine. He was very friendly. He's very handsome looking guy too. But so I remember, I don't know if I talked about this, but I remember going into the operating room, and he was jamming. He was sitting with his one of his legs up, and he was filling out some paperwork, and he was jamming. He had some music going. It was like rock and roll type of music, and he was just, it was okay. And but he was a nice guy. He checked on me after as well, and yeah, I had no, and that's who my coworker used as well. And again, I had no problems, and my only regret is that I knew it sooner. Like, I wish I would have went with my coworker in December. I wish we could have done it together. But anyways, I'm glad I did it. I have no regrets. So thank you again for watching. Consider liking and consider subscribing. See you next time.